This video is sponsored by Squarespace. If you're a normal, well-adjusted member of society, then you're probably unaware of the raging dumpster fire that's going on right this second in the Minecraft community. Allegations are being thrown left and right, horrible stories are being shared about content creators people knew and loved. I have found myself privy to information I never thought I would be able to get my hands on because people with large followings are just sharing this willingly to the public domain. It's also a weird time because the Quiet on Set documentary about Nickelodeon just released in the midst of all this, so people are having the blinds of innocence forcefully ripped away from the awful truth of industries and people that have been idolized for years. I hope you, specifically the person watching this video, don't know anything about Minecraft YouTubers, streamers, content creators, any of this, so that I can give you the full, complete rundown. Be prepared to lose some brain cells. I will eventually get to all the current drama that's been happening, but before I do that, I really want to paint the picture, set the scene. Because in order to truly understand the gravity of the situation now, I have to take you back. Let's go back to Indiana circa 1983. While I can't be objective in this retelling, everybody has their biases and people they like and dislike, I do promise to try and be as fair as I can given the information that's available to the public. Now sit back, relax, and let me tell y'all the tale of the dreamsmp. DreamsmP, more like fever dream SMP. Full disclosure, even though I know more about this topic than the average Joe, I definitely am pretty outside of the loop. So if I make a mistake, don't include a really important detail, please add it in the comments so we're all aware. So here's the thing, before 2020, before COVID, I was so blissfully ignorant about all of this. I didn't know anything about Minecraft or Minecraft YouTubers. I didn't watch any gamers for that matter. The main people I watched consistently were Jenna Marbles and Dan and Phil Games. And if you told me that right now the channel that would be posting more consistently is Dan and Phil Games, that was not on my bingo card. I'm also not a gamer myself. The only console that I had growing up was the Wii. I exclusively played Just Dance 4 on that bitch. Then 2020 hits, Corona hits, lockdown hits, and we all start collectively losing our fucking minds. We were all very much chronically online during this time. I fell into the deep dark hole of anime. I started watching anime, Haikyuu to be specific. I also started watching Miraculous Ladybug, and I had no idea the impact that that would have on my life. And most importantly, when I was on TikTok during this time, I started getting clips of Minecraft YouTubers and gameplay on my For You page.
George, you look good in a suit.
Thanks, Dream.
TikTok's influence in the rise of the dreamsmp is really interesting. I couldn't give less of a shit about Minecraft at that time. I didn't even know what Twitch was. So there was no way I would consciously choose to watch Minecraft content, whether it be on YouTube or anything else. The only way I would be exposed to this type of content was through TikTok's For You page, where I had no say in what video would show up next. Therefore, I think COVID and TikTok contributed to the dreamsmp's success because TikTok was feeding their content to people who wouldn't normally choose to watch Minecraft content, as well as the fact that everybody was stuck inside brain rotting and had nothing else better to do. So let's get into the origins of the dreamsmp and what it actually was. And it all starts with this guy named Dream.
Dream, 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 dream.
His full online persona name is Dream Was Taken. He's sometimes referred to as Piss Baby because he shared a story of a time when he pissed the bed when he was a full-ass man when his ex-girlfriend was sleeping next to him. His logo is this fella, which that vegan teacher described as, and I quote, a little penis that was circumcised. God, that takes me back. Anyway, Dream is this Minecraft YouTuber that gained an incredible amount of subscribers in a really short amount of time and basically skyrocketed to fame. He attributes this fame to his ability to intensely study the mysterious YouTube algorithm. When I first heard that, I thought, let's be so for real. How exactly does one study the algorithm? Is that just code for watching a shit ton of YouTube? What are you doing? Oh, I'm studying the YouTube algorithm. You've just been watching Drew's videos for the past 3 hours. But hey, I guess his methods worked, or at the very least contributed a little bit to his success. There are exactly two things that make Dream interesting. One, his quick rise to fame, and two, the fact that he's faceless. When I first learned about him, all I had to create my mental image of him were these several photos on his Instagram, his voice.
Oh, come on now.
His self-proclamation that he has dirty-ish blonde hair and is kinda tall, and this up-close picture of his eyeball that he provided himself on Twitter. Y'all, when I tell you the community took this description and fucking ran with it. The amazing thing about being faceless is people can think you're the most scrumptious, jaw-dropping ethereal human to grace this planet Earth, and they can't even be proven wrong. People were convinced that the man behind the monitor would be Froy Gutierrez level attractive, despite also knowing that this man's name is Clay, he lives in Florida, and he plays Minecraft for a living. I just want y'all to be fully aware of what the vibes were like surrounding people's vision for him. And now going back to his quick rise to fame, I was always curious about the specifics of it. Why was it so substantial? Why did it happen in such a short amount of time? So I did some digging, and I think initially Dream gained a little bit of traction because he was using PewDiePie's fame to, you know, get viewers to check out his own videos, which common tactic, it works a lot of the time, but there was a little bit of a controversy when he was doing that because, and again, I don't play Minecraft at all, I don't know really anything about the game, but from what I understand, PewDiePie was doing a series, you know, for his own content where he was playing in this Minecraft world, and each Minecraft world has a specific seed number. If you have access to that seed number, you will be able to join that world. A bunch of people were able to figure out this seed number, I guess by just analyzing the world, analyzing Felix's videos, and then Dream made a video about this and posted it to his channel, leaking the seed number to the world. It's a truly impressive feat that they were able to correctly figure out the seed number in the first place. Felix only said that he didn't want them to do that after they had already leaked it, so looking back on it, it seems a little bit of a scummy move. Dream then used this traction to start creating his own original series on his channel. He did this Unsolved Mystery series that dealt with Minecraft, but then he hit the fucking gold mine with his Minecraft Manhunt series, and this is what he is most known for probably even today. This is where he tries to beat Minecraft the game, and he has a various number of people, his friends, try and stop him. Two of the friends that are consistently in his Minecraft Manhunt series are Sapnap and George Not Found, aka George, and together the three of them are known as the Dream Team. Dream met Sapnap through Minecraft in like early 2013, and they've been online besties ever since. Well, they're not online anymore, but whatever. Dream later met George because they were working on this Minecraft server together that was either started or co-started by this already existing Minecraft YouTuber named Bad Boy Halo. Bad Boy Halo is also another regular in the Minecraft Manhunt series. He was also, you know, like I said, an already established Minecraft content creator, so Dream already had this relationship into the Minecraft content world through Bad. So I think it was just sort of a collection of things: his relationship with Bad Boy Halo, PewDiePie series that happened to do well, his original series that were, you know, really creative and unique. And eventually, getting to the thing that started it all, Dream decided to create his own Minecraft world called the Dream SMP. The original members of this SMP were the Dream Team, so Dream, Sapnap, and George, as well as a few people he knew through working on Bad Boy Halo's server, including Bad Boy Halo himself. So now let's get into what was the Dream SMP? What was it mainly known for? The server grew to include a bunch more members than the ones I just mentioned. People were either invited to the SMP by Dream directly, or existing members could ask Dream if one of their friends could join. But at the end of the day, Dream had the final say on who was on his SMP. Basically, what it was is we have a whole bunch of Minecraft content creators, big and small. Usually, they were streaming on this platform called Twitch, which is a live streaming platform. Everyone was playing Minecraft together, making Minecraft content on the server. But the real kicker is the lore. The Dream SMP is known for its role-playing. I'm really not gonna get into the lore, to be honest. There are tons of videos on that already if you're interested. It is a deep, dark rabbit hole, so be prepared for that. I don't even really know the lore itself. It got too complicated for me. The family trees were fucking insane. There was like a little bit of a Hamilton-esque revolution that took place at first. Shit hit the fan. People were exiled. People died once, then again for the final time. The super main characters, from what I could gather, was that this guy named Tommy was the main character, the hero. Dream was the villain. And then this guy Wilbur was kind of like, he was good guy turned bad, kind of complicated, complex character. Wilbur was also the main lore writer because it was semi-scripted. So you can see how it's kind of an interesting premise, because it's not about Minecraft or the gameplay itself, but rather the lore, the drama, the spice. There are also a lot of layers to the people. Like, take Tommy, for example. We've got Tom Simons, the person outside of YouTube and content creation. Then we've got Tommy Innit, content creator. Then we've got Tommy, the character that he plays while he's streaming in the lore. So like I said, a lot of how people would be exposed to the lore was through Twitch streaming. So people were watching this play out live. I was in attendance sometimes for these, like for the really big lore streams, but like I said, I wasn't that invested, so I normally wasn't there. But it was really crazy because at like the peak of, you know, the DreamSmp, sometimes hundreds of thousands of people tuned in to watch this shit. I mentioned that I really only became aware of the DreamSmp once I saw clips, you know, coming on my For You page, but that in itself didn't really make me care to watch any of these people, to go out of my way to view the lore, to view any Minecraft content at all. Do you want to know who did? Saddest. Y'all don't understand! Saddest is a YouTuber who does animations and animatics. I saw one of these animations come onto my For You page. I was fucking captivated. Saddest took clips of DreamSmp members saying something when they were in character during a lore stream, spliced them together dramatically like a trailer, animated this spectacularly, and then slapped dramatic music behind this bitch, and we've got a fucking masterpiece. I didn't know enough about the DreamSmp at this point to know who was who was saying what the lore was. I was really confused and lost in the sauce. But you know what? I didn't give a fuck because I was so moved and awestruck, and I was almost brought to tears. Is that just because I'm an animation girly that likes dramatic music? Yeah, and what about it? Of course though, I wasn't the only one who felt this way. The whole community loves Saddest. Even the creators themselves would like be there watching Saddest stuff on stream. Later on, after Saddest got really popular, they started having YouTube premieres of their new animations, and you best believe I was in attendance. Yeah. And also there were tons and tons of artists creating really beautiful creative stuff during this time, so it's really interesting to see how this all stemmed from DreamSmp. But hey, whatever gets it done, am I right? Anyways, this is the essence of the DreamSmp. It was a crazy time. You truly had to be there. And when I tell you the community blew up, it blew up. You could not throw a stone within the gaming community without hitting someone directly connected to the DreamSmp in some way. I mean, during its peak, Dream and company were making content with famous TikTokers, Addison Rae, Bella Porch. They were involved in Mr. Beast's YouTube Rewind and really big YouTube events like MadPat's charity stream thing. They even got the United States government involved. So now that y'all have a bit of background, let's get into it. I made this nifty little Prezi here. It's not inclusive of everyone who is a DreamSmp member. There are some non-DreamSmp members, but I think this will be helpful to map where people stand. This is how I organize the groups of people into my mind based on who seems to have the closest relationship to each other. I'm not saying that this is how it is in reality. Like, I could be totally wrong, but I think generally, like, these are pretty common categorizations. Pretty much everyone on this Prezi creates gaming content, and a lot of them are streamers. The first box is kind of miscellaneous people that show the DreamSmp's connection to the pre-existing Minecraft content creating world. On top we have Puns, Hannah XX Rose, and Sylvie. Hannah and Puns are both DreamSmp members. I've seen Sylvie, Hannah, Puns, and Sapnap hang out like a few times, so I'm assuming they're like a little group. On the bottom we have Purpled. He's a DreamSmp member, but low-key he's kind of unrelated to everything. He's a drama-free king, but I included him because I think he slays. Purpled and Hannah are both skilled Bed Wars players, which is a game on Hypixel, which is a Minecraft thing. Then on the top right, we've got Captain Sparkles, and below him, Dan TDM. They are established Minecraft creators, pre-DreamSmp, you know, they're OGs, but they would join in on DreamSmp fun, occasionally interact with the gang. On the bottom right is Scott's Major. Scott contributed this really cool thing in the community called Minecraft Championships, aka MCC. Basically, a whole bunch of Minecraft content creators, a large portion of them were DreamSmp members. They would be put into 10 teams of 4. These teams would compete in various Minecraft mini games, and you know, they would win various points, coins they were, I believe. The 2 teams, after all of the mini games were played, I think there were like 6, maybe 8, something like that. The top 2 teams would battle it out at the end to determine the winner. I think the 4 players of the winning team would get like this gold coin mailed to them, so that was, you know, a kind of cool, fun little thing. I personally loved MCC. I watched a bunch of them live. This event, like the lore, was also streamed, and my favorite part was looking at all the teams because the teams were announced prior to the event, and I would see which one would seem like the most fun time And out of, you know, the 4 players that are in the team that I choose to watch, which POV do I want to watch? Which person specifically do I want to watch? And you know what? 99% of the time, I would choose my boy Tommy in it. Honestly, the only MCC drama I can remember is when there's a little bit of tension between people who are really competitive and take things seriously versus people who just want to have fun. But Scott, he took efforts to address this by putting people who have similar interests together. I think there was this Google form that the content creators would fill out, and in this form they would say who they want to be on a team with and if they want to actually be competitive or just do it for the vibes, for the fun vibes. And from what I could tell, it's when people's egos get involved, that's when it makes it less enjoyable for everyone. Dream. The next box in my mind connects dreamsmp members to the YouTube world, specifically gamers. The 3 on the left are Foolish, Tina, and Quackity. They are all dreamsmp members. Quackity is pretty involved in the lore, and he is also known for bringing his viewers, his international viewers together, mainly the Spanish-speaking community. He speaks Spanish, he's Mexican, I believe. Foolish, he was one of the later additions to the SMP, and he actually was a fan. You know, he would create content on his YouTube channel talking about the dreamsmp, and Dream saw this and thought he was cool and decided to add him, which is a fun little tidbit there for you. Tina is kind of connected to this group on the top right, which include Corpse, a faceless YouTuber, and Ray, a gamer. Tina, Corpse, Ray, they were a part of the Among Us train. You know, when Among Us was a huge big deal and everybody was playing the game, watching content creators, they were a part of a really popular Among Us lobby that included people like Fuslie, Disguised Toast, Saikuno. They were all a part of that gang. Corpse also makes music. You've probably heard of his stuff on TikTok. He has a really distinct, deep, low voice. On the bottom right, we have Carl Jacobs and Mr. Beast. I don't know if you know this, but Mr. Beast, he's a guy who makes YouTube videos. Carl works for Mr. Beast and started appearing regularly in his videos, and then eventually, I don't really know how this happened, but he managed to befriend dreamsmp members and eventually became a dreamsmp member himself. Then this box in my mind connects the dreamsmp to like the larger streaming community, mainly like more Twitch people. We've got Charlie Slimesicle, Jay Schlatt, and Ted Nivison. They all seem pretty close, like they're a group. They have a podcast together. Also, side note, the first time I read Ted's name, a lot of people have misread it as Tednavision, like television, Tednavision. That's not what I did. I read it as Ted Nedvision. I don't know. Also, you know how people comment about celebrity lookalikes? The comment that I get the most by far is that I look like the female version of Ted. Thoughts? Twin, where have you been? Charlie and Schlatt are both dreamsmp members. Schlatt's pretty involved to the lore as like a villain type crazy character. They're pretty connected to the people on the bottom, Austin, Minx, Hassan, Ludwig. One of the big reasons for this connection, I think, is because of this Twitch dating show that Austin created called Love or Host. Basically, it's kind of like The Bachelor. You have one content creator who's the bachelor or bachelorette, and they have 10 contestants, participants. After a series of eliminations, we get down to the final person, and the content creator is like, I choose you. And then Austin is like, well, participant, did you choose love or host? Love would mean that they entered this dating show with pure intentions. They like the content creator, they love them, want to go on a date with them. Love in this context is very, taken very lightly. It's not, no real feelings are involved usually. Or did the contestant pick host? And host would mean that they went onto the show for the clout, and they didn't actually care about the content creator in question at all, and they would get all of the viewers currently watching the dating show, like they would be redirected to their own channel. This whole thing takes several hours, by the way, and did I sit there and watch the whole thing a few times? Yeah, of course, absolutely. There are several dreamsmp members that got their own lover host. Schlatt, Wilbur, George, Sapnap, Carl, Jack, Tommy, Quackity, Nikki, and even others who are famous outside of the dreamsmp, such as James Charles, Pokimane, XQC, Lil Nas X, and Bretman Rock. Schlatt was one of the earlier, bachelors, I think, and one person that he, ended up talking to, having a connection with again and again, is Minx, and they had a lot of banter good fun times. She also won George's Lover Host, which was kind of funny. Although, like, this is a side note because I don't know much about this situation, but she's always been a very loud comedic character, but recently she's had kind of a pretty public battle with alcoholism, so I hope she's doing better with that and getting the help she needs. Then over here, this box contains a lot of the younger dreamsmp members and a lot of members that happen to live in England. Everyone here is a dreamsmp member and also happens to be pretty involved in the lore. Tommy Innit, he's in the center. He's arguably the main character of the dreamsmp. He's very central to the lore, and hate to say it, I honestly think he slays. I think he has a real talent for entertaining, but you know what? Me being a slight fan of him is pretty biased because I'm just gonna come out and say it. I love his mom. His mom has been in a few videos and streams of his, and I love her! She has her own YouTube channel as well, which is now called Sarah Simon's Internet Mum, but I subscribed and followed back when it was middle-aged fat lass. Yes, I did. Anyways, to the right is his bestie Tubbo. They kind of started streaming on Twitch at the same time and, you know, got connected, became friends, and then they pretty much joined the dreamsmp at the same time, and they've been like friends ever since. I think their friendship is, you know, so sweet. I think it's really cool how, you know, they're similar in age, they've been going on this whole journey together, and their characters in the lore are pretty connected as well. Jack Manifold is on the bottom right. Fun fact, we're birthday twins. How about that? Above him is Nikki Niachu and Wilburson. Nikki actually won Wilbur's Lover Host, and then Wilbur brought her onto the dreamsmp. She was low-key one of the only girls in that group for a while. The internet really associated her with Wilbur because, I mean, she kind of gained a lot of popularity when she won Wilbur's Lover Host, and then he was the one who brought her on to the dreamsmp, and then they started like hanging out a lot. They were always together. There were a lot of shipping rumors. Now Wilbur, I already mentioned that he was mainly in charge of the lore. He also had a really close relationship with Tommy. They talk about each other like brothers. The internet treats them as such. And to be clear, it's an older brother, younger brother duo because there's like a 7-8 year age difference between them. The two of them are connected to Philza Minecraft and Technoblade, Minecraft YouTubers on the top left. The internet headcanons for their characters in the lore are that Philza is the dad, and then Techno, Wilbur, and Tommy are all brothers. Philza, I think he got popular because he was playing Minecraft on survival mode consistently for a really long time. And then Technoblade, he was a really great Minecraft PvP player. He battled against Dream, who was also, you know, kind of good at PvP, and Technoblade won. Tragically, Technoblade passed away due to cancer in June of 2022 when he was only 23 years old. This hit the community really hard. I mean, his announcement of his cancer diagnosis was extremely, no one was expecting that, and then he only lived like about a year after that. Then these last members of this section are Amesy and Ronbu. I say Ronbu, I know a bunch of people say Ranbu, but they said I could say it either way. They were one of the newer and last people invited to the SMP. They both got a lot of popularity on TikTok initially. Ronbu was faceless at first. He constantly wore a mask and sunglasses and gloves. He struggles a lot with facial dysmorphia, but relatively recently, he stopped wearing his glasses, aka he did an eye reveal. Fun fact, he is the only member of the SMP that I have had a slight semi-indirect interaction with. One day, he responded on his alt Twitter to a picture of my YouTube thumbnail. Now, finally, in the middle of the top right, we have Bad Boy Halo and Skeppy, who was a creator that was closely connected to Bad Boy Halo, but we're not really going to talk about them. We're going to talk about the core members of the Dream SMP, and I already touched upon them a little bit. The notable lore here is that Dream and George have a major history of being shipped. This, I think, was spurred on by this really popular fan fiction called Heat Waves that a lot of people read. I think I read the first part of it and it was pretty good. I had a good time. That blew up on TikTok, and then a song by the band Glass Animals of the same name got really popular and was associated with Dream and George as well. The colors green and blue, also associated with Dream and George. If you want to know if someone had a Dream SMP phase, play Heat Waves by Glass Animals and see how they react. Dream's lore character was the villain, mastermind type. Sapnap was kind of the unpredictable arsonist. George was low-key kind of like the soft boy aesthetic. His character had an association with mushrooms for some reason. I'm not really sure what the context is behind that, But funny story, I actually just remembered. There was a time when George was building like a little mushroom house on the Dream SMP. Turns out there was a whole ass war going on in a different part of the SMP, and he was none the fucking wiser. And you know, so we've got a bunch of people streaming this war, but then we have also got George streaming, and he's just like casually building a house. And scripted or not, it was a pretty funny coincidence. Okay, so after all of that, now you should have a general idea of the Dream SMP, the major players. The SMP was very active from about mid 2020 all the way through 2021. There's still a bit going on in 2022, but the SMP and all of the lore officially wrapped up and ended in like early mid 2023. Everyone went their separate ways kind of into these groups that I mapped out on the chart. Dream ended up face revealing and he started making IRL content. He moved into a house, the Dream Team house, with Sapnap and George. A bunch of people, you know, were creating music. Dream mainly, he put out a few songs. Wilbur, he had some songs of his own, but then he later ended up being a part of this band called Lovejoy, which actually started gaining traction outside of the Minecraft world to the point where people were listening to Lovejoy's music and they didn't even know about Wilbur's Minecraft past. Quackity created the QSMP, so there are a couple of ex-Dream SMP members that are playing on this server now. You know, they kind of transitioned. And this server is pretty cool. It focuses on bringing international creators together, and so even though people speak different languages, there's this mod that translates things in real time, so people are able to communicate even if they don't know, you know, different languages. People on this SMP included Wilbur, Felza, Jaden Animations, Bad Boy Halo, Foolish, Dan TDM, Charlie, Nikki, Tubbo, and Tina. Jaden and Wilbur, however, are no longer a part of the SMP. Tommy is currently on tour. He has this like comedy show thing, and he is touring with Jack Manifold, my birthday twin, and Bad Linu, I think? AKA Freddy, who is another content creator, and they're all friends. So now we're finally at the point where I can discuss recent drama, and I kind of categorize drama into two different eras here. We've got Dream drama, and then super recently we have the drama following Shovel's stream. I will talk about that later. Let's talk about Dream. As a really popular content creator, naturally you're going to get into some drama. My 2 cents on Dream is that what really brings him down, in my opinion, is not the allegations themselves, but how Dream chooses to respond to them. With all this new stuff that's coming to light, it's really making me realize how little we know about content creators we know and love. I used to think that I could get a general sense of a person's character based on how they act online, but you really never know sometimes. I'd say the main reason I'm hesitant to support Dream specifically, in addition to everything that I've witnessed about him, I also have seen people that I, you know, sort of trust in the content creation world that have distanced themselves from him. But maybe y'all can decide for yourself. Let's look at the timeline of Dream scandals, shall we? First, we've got the fake speedrun scandal of 2020. From what I understand, one day Dream was streaming, he was doing a Minecraft speedrun, so trying to beat the game in the shortest amount of time possible. And he ended up completing a speedrun, and it was a super short amount of time. And it was in fact a world record. He submitted it to the board of people, whatever, and since he was streaming, you know, it's like pretty easy to verify, and he was on the top 10 leaderboard. However, people started questioning the authenticity of this run because his luck seemed statistically unlikely. Dream, in response to these accusations, took to Twitter. He went on this rampage claiming his innocence, attacking and condemning anyone who said otherwise, including official speedrun mods. He then made another response in the form of a YouTube video where he basically said, let me show you statistics and stuff, and he even hired, you know, this professor, this math professor, to run some calculations on the statistics of his speedrun, which would like prove that he didn't cheat. But after he put the video out, people were looking at the math and were like, this is not good math. Eventually, Dream came to realize that he did in fact unintentionally cheat because he had a mod installed on his computer and he forgot it was there. This obviously is extremely mortifying for him considering the Twitter rampage he recently went on, as well as the video he put out on YouTube. But you know, coming from the perspective of being like, okay, Dream truly didn't know he was cheating at the time, it makes sense why he was so frustrated that he was being falsely accused. But with that being said, his response was not good. He also claimed that he didn't actually know any of the math that the professor was putting out there, so he had no way to verify if it looked good or not, which I believe. I'm not a math person. I have no idea what's going on. Like, you could show me basic calculus, and I already took calculus and I still couldn't probably tell you what was going on. He teased his face reveal in Mr. Beast's YouTube Rewind. He didn't end up face revealing until long after that. But during this time before the face reveal, he had a lot of instances where his identity, the secrecy of his identity, was in jeopardy. Being a really famous faceless creator, obviously there are going to be a bunch of people trying to figure out who he is, where he lives, what he looks like. A popular picture that ended up circulating was this one because they showed evidence of a yearbook saying that this guy's name was Clay, he lives in Florida, the physical description seemed to match, so everybody was kind of jumping on this train. But Dream denied that this was him, and he said to stop attacking the poor guy. In January of 2021, he took to Twitter and made a twit longer post to talk about the recent issue of people doxing him or trying to dox him. Recently, there's been a lot of drama going on involving me getting doxed and subsequent drama involving that. I generally like to keep drama off my platform, so I've been keen on not addressing anything in a super public way. There's a lot of important stuff that I want to talk about in this document, although I'm going to try to keep it as concise as I can. I'll tell you one thing, drama-free, private, and concise are not words used to describe Dream. The main point of this brief message is not to dox people, which I agree that behavior is unhinged. Then this post took a pretty sharp turn when he started to recount a very lengthy description of his relationship with his ex-girlfriend. This was the same girlfriend that was in the bed with him when he pissed himself. For context, she was the one that helped get his YouTube started, showed him the ropes in terms of social media, and even drew his iconic logo. But they broke up before he got super duper popular online. The reason Dream brought up his ex was because apparently she had been slandering him online. So Dream was trying to set the record straight by saying that what she was saying wasn't true at all. And to give context for this, he said that she struggles with bipolar disorder, struggles with taking medication and how that affects her, and said that she abused and cheated on him. I'm gonna quote two separate instances from this post. I have never talked negatively about her in public, until now I guess, because I know that anything I say would be used as justification for hating on her, and that would contribute terribly to her mental health. He ends with, there's a video of her from a few weeks ago talking about how I'm an amazing person and how much she enjoyed our relationship. A pattern that I see with Dream is that he takes every opportunity to talk about how other people think that he's a good person, especially the people he's beefing with or has drama with. He does this again and again, showing how Nicholas Cantu said that Dream is a grounded, humble, decent man, showing how the Uber driver from that night said that the world needs more people like him, showing how Ghosty said that she was mistaken about him being an asshole after she had met him and got to know him. You don't know any of these people right now. We're gonna get to it later, trust me. To me, this comes off as insecure behavior, but on the other hand, I kind of get it. If you have people constantly slandering you, people blatantly lying about what actually went down, it would drive anyone insane. I honestly feel that the solution for Dream is just to not respond. Obviously, different situations call for different action, but honestly, I feel like responding to every allegation that comes your way is just going to bring attention to these allegations that the majority of your fans probably don't even know about. But again, we all know how the internet likes to take things and run with it, as we've seen with the recent royal family Kate incident. For a while though, Dream seemed to be relatively drama-free. He was releasing music, collaborating with popular musicians such as Alec Benjamin, and he even released an animated music video that scared everybody. On April Fool's Day, Danny revealed that he has been Dream and is in fact Dream.
Alright guys, what's going on? I think it's finally time. Here, I'm gonna sit down. Yeah, I guess let's just do this. Here's my real face. Yep, it's me!
Then in October of 2022, Dream actually face revealed. The day had come. The day that no one, I didn't really fully expect it to come, but here we were. The reason behind his face reveal was that he wanted to do IRL content with his best friends, George and Sapnap, and they all wanted to move in and live together, and people were going to start being able to know who he was because he's hanging out with George and Sapnap, so he wanted to do the face reveal on his own terms. He started by FaceTiming a bunch of popular content creators and had the content creators film their reactions to seeing his face for the first time. For context, literally no one except for Sapnap knew what Dream looked like until this point when he started face revealing to people. I was there, live, when the YouTube video premiered on his channel. My first thought, when I actually saw his face for the first time, I thought,
Hi.
This is traumatizing. And this sentiment is in no way a reflection of whether or not I find Dream attractive, but it is so disorienting to see a face attached to the disembodied voice I've heard for the past 2 years. It's like when you're reading a book and you have a fuzzy mental image of a character in your head, and on the last chapter, they casually throw in, oh, his blonde, luscious locks, and you've been imagining him with black hair this entire time. Or you have characters in your head and you see the official art for the book, and the mental image is instantly shattered. My second thought was, oh, that picture was totally him. He lost weight, but that was totally him. Twitter was crazy that day. The internet tore him to shreds, making fun of his mannerisms on camera, comparing him to Rumpelstiltskin from Shrek. Then we've got the next bit of drama that happens several months later. This is in April of 2023, which is pretty much the exact moment that the dreamsmp was ending, and so now everybody who was a dreamsmp member is thinking, well, what now? What next? One of the dreamsmp members, Quackity, announces his QSMP, which, like I said, had the goal of bringing international creators together. Coincidentally enough, though, Dream had posted his idea just prior to this announcement about his USMP, the Universal SMP, which basically was the same exact concept. So then, in a turn of events no one saw coming, Dream took to Twitter and shared a bunch of information that nobody was asking for. He explained how he reached out to Quackity about their similar SMP ideas, how their fans were kind of concerned about confliction and exclusivity, and there was tension. He didn't want there to be too much hate and competition, but Quackity never responded to his many messages. Dream even reached out to Quackity's friends, people he knew to be involved with the QSMP, asking why Quackity wasn't responding to Dream. So Dream, at this point, Quackity has been radio silent all this time, and he's like, well, I have no choice but to make this public. The people gotta know about this. Do they? He has since stated that he regrets this decision, which, duh. Then in August, Tommy Innit posted a comedy sketch to his YouTube channel, and it was kind of, you know, poking fun at a few creators, and one of the sketches was about the Quackity and Dream drama, and Dream was painted in a pretty negative light. The community was a little bit shook by this, though, because they were like, whoa, shots fired. Is Tommy cutting ties with Dream? Like, what does this mean? It honestly didn't seem that deep to me, though. The comedic critique was very valid given what went down. Going back to June of 2023, Dream did this stupid thing where he posted a video to his channel saying how he was reverse face revealing. He was unrevealing. In the video, George and Sapnap tell Dream to put the mask back on because he's fallen off since then. He's too ugly for the world. It was very obviously a joke. Some people took it seriously, but I think where people might have been steered wrong was because of the description of the video, which I'm gonna read to you right now. Bye, from Dream. I will slowly be deleting all pictures of me online and going back to just being a gamer in a mask. The same company that made the Spider-Man mask, Batman mask, and many other superheroes made me a mask so that I can be Dream all the time. Hide my identity even if public, at McDonald's or any place I need to go. Thank you all from the bottom of my heart to those that supported me, even though I am ugly. I appreciate you all more than you could ever know, and I will be working on my face while I'm masked again. Listen, I read this at the time it was posted, and even though I knew it had to be fake, I still felt a little bad. This guy, he was getting called ugly a lot. And even if you're the most secure person in the entire world, that has to take a toll on you. Now here's where we get into some fun. Dream had a little scuffle with this guy, Nicholas Cantu, who is a voice actor. I guess the thing that he's most known for in my eyes is the voice actor for Gumball Watterson from The Amazing World of Gumball. This was in November of 2023, and basically Nick went on a random Twitter rampage in our eyes talking about how, you know, Dream is a predator. He talked about a party where he met Dream. I think he said that Dream might have hit him at one point. I don't really know, it was confusing. He was throwing allegations all over the place. But basically, according to Dream, Nick is the one that hit him out of nowhere, and they all ended up in the same Uber on the drive home. Nick was being, you know, very insulting towards the Uber driver and to Dream. Basically, this tweet from Nick sums up the situation pretty well. Yes, I slapboxed you in front of the host. Yes, I was an asshole to the Uber driver. I was wasted and it wasn't cool, which is why I tipped him a lot of money and have been cutting back on drinking. Yes, I called you fat and a predator. Hire a Harvard professor to calculate why, despite texting every Twitch streamer in Austin, not a single one wanted to fuck you. Then Dream released a video of Nick in the Uber. And so Dream, after he pressed post, he was probably like, well, that should clear things up. Dream, you are the king of providing too much context and explaining things in excruciating detail. This is the one time where giving context is necessary and would have really benefited you in this situation. But no, the only context that Dream gave for the video when he posted it was that the person speaking is famous voice actor Nicholas Cantu and that he was being objectively problematic. But naturally, when people watched this video, they had so many questions. Why were you at a party with, you know, these young people who are underage drinking? Why were y'all in an Uber together? Why were you recording Nick when he was clearly having some sort of episode? Have you been holding on to this video all of this time, just waiting for Nick to say something bad about you? Like, what is the context for any of this? So perhaps to Dream's surprise, the internet, for the most part, probably still is entirely on Team Gumball over here. It's probably because this whole thing was wild and kinda hilarious, and Nick came up with some of the most creative insults I've ever bared witness to.
You're gonna be forgotten like the dust in the sand when you're in the fucking Sahara and there's 100 million, 1,000 billion fucking sand particles. You're gonna be one of those, and I'm gonna be a statue erected in gold.
In December, Dream releases this long-ass dramatic video titled The Truth. The main point of the video was to clear up some false SA allegations that had been circulating against him. He also cleared up the situation with Nick by providing the context necessary to understand the circumstances in which the video was being recorded, you know, how everything was happening. And he even brought on the Uber driver from that night to essentially testify against Nick and be like, oh, Dream, you know, he was the one de-escalating the situation, he was great, blah, blah, blah. But Dream brought up two interesting things in this Truth video that I did not expect. Firstly, he confirmed that this notorious pic from way back when was in fact him. And you know what? Anyone with two working eyeballs, could see that coming from a mile away like myself. But, you know, there were still people who were denying that that picture was him, being like, there ain't no way. Dream has a very distinct looking face. That was clearly him. He acknowledged the fact that he did lie about it during the time, but that was like to protect his privacy and all of that. And it was funny because he was defending himself in the third person, you know, being like, stop hating that poor kid. And looking back, that's so sad. The second thing he talked about was the Manatreed incident. This was drama that was happening during the dreamsmp era. So this was from kind of a while back. Manatreed was a faceless content creator that randomly popped up, and luckily for y'all, I actually have a video of me reacting to Manatreed, you know, coming into existence at the time, of which I'm going to provide zero context for this video. Let's talk about Manatreed. Here's the thing about Manatreed, okay? If you don't know who that is, apparently no one knows who that is. It may be Dream, it may not be Dream. You know, what's weird about it to me is the fact that Dream and Sapnap and people interacted with this guy, right? I don't understand why they would interact with a random person claiming to be Dream. How would a random person claiming to be Dream gain any traction? Just because he may or may not have the same tattoo, which could easily be replicated. I pictured Dream to have a very square head, and this Ollie guy doesn't seem to have that square of a head. His mouth really reminds me of George Not Found. Am I the only one that thinks that?
I don't.
You really?
What if this doesn't come off?
Basically, it turns out that Manatreed wasn't Dream, but Dream's childhood best friend. Because of Manatreed's uncertain past and like run-ins with the law, Dream decided to take away his platform as quickly as he had given it. Dream ends the video by saying he will be stepping back from Twitter as he recognizes that his initial responses that have been enabled by his quick, you know, ability to just post a tweet, they've been problematic. And I thought, yes! That's exactly the right response. This is what I've literally been saying and thinking all this time. If you just didn't respond how you do on Twitter, then a lot of the things that people can say negatively about you won't exist. Once you take away Dream's ability to share his thoughts to the general public, his number of scandals is sure to go down. Things are looking up. Now let's get into the latest drama, all of which revolves around creators sharing their horrible experiences they've had where they've been in relationships with other content creators. In October of 2023, a British content creator streamer named Lexi put out a video on her YouTube channel talking about a really horrible relationship experience that she had with another popular content creator. She didn't name him, and I think his identity is still anonymous to this day. She explains how during this relationship, which was her first relationship unfortunately, there was a lot of arguing, a lot of manipulation, gaslighting, He was very controlling. He just sounds like all around a horrible person. I'm gonna be so real. This story didn't really gain much traction. Weirdly enough, another story in February of 2024 did. This would lead to a massive cascading effect, prompting other people to share their stories with different creators. And it really just snowballed from there. Shovel, aka Shelby, went live on Twitch explaining her story of how she was in a relationship with this really popular content creator, and it was not a good experience. Shelby is a Minecraft creator. She's in the dreamsmp circle, not a dreamsmp member, but she, you know, participated in MCC a lot. She was around them a bunch. In her stream, she said that her reason for coming out, which was the same as Lexi's, is that she wants to bring awareness to the warning signs that people should look for when they're in relationships and when they're not being treated right. She talked about how her silence was only keeping his peace, not her own. And so she started off, like, the main claim, the biggest red flag, I guess, was the fact that he would bite her. And now, when I first heard that, I was thinking like, oh, I've heard of people biting as a form of affection in relationships. Like, I guess that's not so out of pocket. But then she kept explaining, and then I, you know, was like, oh, no, this isn't normal. She said he would bite harder and harder, to the point where every time he would bite her, it would cause pain. And so he suggested, hey, let's create this safe word so that I can, you know, gauge your tolerance for pain. He would bite her, and every single time she would have to say the safe words, you know, so every single time she was in pain, and the biting would become more and more frequent, to the point where she would have, you know, bruises up and down her arms and legs. So clearly he was exploiting the safe word. He even on certain occasions bit down harder when she said the safe word. She expressed that she communicated to him time and time again, like, she is not okay with pain. She's never okay with pain. And she told him to stop, and he said that he wouldn't. He's not going to change. He said he basically, one of the major problems with him is that he was just flat out a liar. Loved bombed early on in the relationship, saying how he could see marriage and kids with her, and then, you know, later on when she asked him about his thoughts on this, he completely gave the opposite response, saying he wasn't the commitment type, didn't want any of that. He only wanted to focus on his career, fame, money, power, and he wasn't going to prioritize her or their relationship ever, which oh my god. He would say problematic things which directly conflicted with the image that he put of himself. Like, for example, he said that women aren't funny in private, was all about empowering women online. He lived in filth and expected her to clean up for him, and she was paying for all this cleaning supplies out of her own pocket, and would even have to pay for like over half of the meals. She had to cover expenses that she really shouldn't have been covering. 5 days later, Lexi and Shelby actually did a stream together. Their situations were kind of similar. They were sharing their stories for the same reasons. They had similar struggles with, you know, going to therapy afterwards, you know, reflecting on how long it took them to leave their relationships, being just absolutely flabbergasted at the amount of times their partner lied to them and abused their trust. It was a very vulnerable stream, and it was very eye-opening, I think, for a lot of people, including myself. Shelby shared, actually, in her initial stream that one time, her ex pinned her down and asked her to try as hard as she could to get him off of her, and she couldn't. And then after the fact, he was saying how he was so much stronger than her, and that she wouldn't be able to fight back. Ha 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 ha, that's so funny, is what I would say if I was insane. And you have the audacity to say that women aren't funny when you pull the shit right from your ass? Let's be so for real. That is such a disturbing thing to do to someone. The day after the stream, Shelby's ex issued an apology on Twitter, confirming that what she was saying was in fact about him. There had been a lot of speculation going on. So that day, the internet, we all found out that the person who was doing this to Shelby was Wilburson. His response was as follows. In the past week, a series of allegations have been made over my conduct from an ex-girlfriend. I want to emphasize that although I feel it fair to offer my perspective, this person's feelings are completely valid. I've taken my time sharing the statement as I wanted to process and respond respectfully and with the hope to gain a deeper understanding for the situation. During our relationship's final months, I regrettably became slavish, disrespectful, and selfish. These actions caused a lot of pain to my ex-girlfriend, and I've since sought therapy to address these behaviors, making significant lifestyle changes to rectify my past actions. I've come to realize how much my past behavior hurt this person, but I truly compassionately believe I have made great strides from the person I once was and hope I can continue to grow and improve on this trajectory. contradictory. The allegation of abuse, particularly in the form of biting, deeply shocked me. Throughout our relationship, I understood from our numerous conversations and text message exchanges on the subject that this behavior was consensual, playful, and reciprocally enjoyed. I truly believe those personal message exchanges reflect mutual affection and understanding. Out of respect for her, I choose not to publish them, and I emphasize my perspective is not shared to diminish or invalidate anyone's feelings. Instead, I share it in the hope that I can offer genuine, fair, and relevant insight into my understanding of the situation. While I may perceive our interactions differently, I recognize that this person has processed and expressed feelings of hurt. I want to extend my sincerest apologies for any pain that I caused. I'm fully committed to understanding and addressing her concerns going forward. I hope my perspective sheds light on the situation without detracting from its message. I am dedicated to earning and maintaining the trust of those around me and hope I continue to be held to these high standards I wish to attain and maintain. It always makes me laugh when I hear creators say in their apologies, like, thank you so much for holding me accountable. Like, I'm not only thankful, but like, I want you to do that. Hold me accountable. Like, I'm so grateful for the opportunity to be held accountable for my actions. I was like, bitch, no, you are not. You didn't. If you had the choice between being held accountable and not, you wouldn't want to be. If anything, you would want this shit to never be discussed, swept under the rug so that your reputation would never be tarnished. A whole bunch of content creators shat all over this apology, rightfully so. I mean, there are a bunch of things wrong with it. He didn't say her name. He didn't really take accountability for the pain that he caused. I mean, he explained his side and how he was like, well, it was consensual. No, it wasn't. It clearly wasn't. He also was like, sure, I caused pain, but I'm a new person now. Like, that's the old me, babe. We're talking about the new me. Of course, Dream decided to butt in on the conversation, and he gave like a pretty lengthy response on his Twitter. Thought we were stepping back from Twitter, Dream. She said she withdrew consent using a safe word and that you frequently would intentionally bite down harder afterward to the point that she would scream, even isolated from everything else that is clearly abuse. While reading this, I was waiting to see you talk about that issue, to say anything at all, only to finish reading and find out that you didn't acknowledge it once. I really don't understand how you thought this was accountability or an apology or even an informative statement. This did serve as confirmation she was talking about you, which I'm glad to have. Wilbur, you take accountability for being slobbish, disrespectful, and selfish, and it seems those are the things you acknowledge as past problems while overshadowing the physically abusive actions and claiming to be completely referring to now. You seem to truly think that you did nothing abusive, and this statement is built on that foundation. You are being dishonest with yourself or dishonest with us, or both. You describe these actions as consensual without refuting her complete revocation of consent through your agreed upon safe word, a word set with the purpose of explicitly ending consent. She trusted you with the safe word as a boundary. You shattered that trust. Therapy won't help if you seriously describe your actions as playful, affectionate, and especially consensual. Your therapist can't read your mind and know you're being dishonest. Shelby was afraid to say your name due to your dedicated audience, and this wasn't acknowledged either. As someone who had times shared an audience with you, this is severely disappointing. She had reason to be afraid to say your name, but you shouldn't have been afraid to say hers. Shelby, I'm sorry you had to go through this. I'm sorry that you felt scared about the public support, and I hope this gives you some hope that the world overall is full of good people. I'm sorry that you'll forever be affected by this. As a victim of domestic violence, I was scared to ever speak out, in fear of not being taken seriously or believed. It's incredibly encouraging to see so many people express support and uplift your story and message, and I believe this can help prevent many future situations like yours. I'm sorry if any events involving me or my audience in the past contributed at all to your anxiousness about coming forward in this community, and I hope this serves as a reminder to everybody that at the end of the day, the community and creators are united when it comes to the most important things: the truth, what's right and wrong, speaking for those who can't, uplifting the voices of those that might otherwise go unheard, standing up for what's right, and speaking against those that do wrong. Your story you told will help so many young people see signs of toxicity and abuse before it's too late for them. Thank you for being brave. The selfish financial bit actually reminded me of one of Will's earlier songs. In the chorus of a popular song, it says, even though he has social skills doesn't mean I can't pay her bills. The self-implication that he doesn't have social skills seems to ring true considering his blatant disregard for basic human decency. It also implies that he could pay her bills if he wanted to, but sources say he doesn't want to and don't pay for shit. I hope that that changes though, starting with him paying for A, therapy, and B, the consequences of his own actions. The Minecraft community was kind of blindsided. Looking back on certain things that he said and done, it does seem to make a little bit of sense. I mean, Shelby talked a lot about how he would lie kind of about pretty much everything, and there's a clip of him, and I remember watching this clip way back when and kind of agreeing because, you know, with all this coming out, I feel like, well, how much do you really know about people? But there's one clip where Will explicitly says that everything he said about himself has been a lie. But when it comes to hiding atrocious behavior, then it makes me scared to support anybody at this point. Everyone started to turn to the people who Wilbur associated with the most, and like I mentioned, he had a really, really close relationship with Tommy in it. Tommy has been on tour during all of this, and he has yet to make like an official statement. He said he was processing it. Filza hasn't said anything either. He was at least kind of close to Wilbur. Tubbo said on stream that it made him so angry the amount of times he's spoken to Wilbur in private could be counted on maybe 2 hands, and that the response was fucking vile. That surprised me a little bit. I mean, now that I'm thinking about it, I haven't really seen Tubbo and Wilbur interact that much, like in a casual, friendly hangout sort of way, but it really makes you think. Nikki also shared a bit saying that I see that people expect me to say something about the situation. Truth is that I was freshly 18 years old when I met him. While I did not see a problem with it back then, I can now see how harmful he was to my young self and how damaged I am from that time. My time in the UK has had some of the darkest moments of my life, and I think that people can tell from the way I used to act on stream. I still can't think too much about everything that happened back then without shaking, and I don't want to. I always felt so unheard whenever I brought up any situation regarding that time. I don't want to say more as I don't want to make the situation about myself. Then clips started resurfacing of Nikki talking about Will actually biting her, and her saying that she had bruises from this. Another creator, Rihanna, said kind of offhandedly when she experienced something painful, she was like, oh, Wilbur hurt me more with biting. He's bitten me harder than that. And said that he flat out bites people. And hearing all of this, hearing so many people not only have bad experiences with him, but have the same bad experience. His pattern of behavior is pretty consistent across everybody he's been involved with like that. And I mean, especially when thinking about Nikki, I feel so horrible, because I remember, you know, her career trajectory has been deeply intertwined with Wilbur's from the moment she became popular, because of course she became popular initially when she won Wilbur's Lover Host. And so now hearing the horrible experiences that she's had with him, I remember especially her being very adamant about the fact that she didn't want people to ship her with Wilbur or like talk about him anymore. Unfortunately, I thought that that was like kind of dramatic and kind of excessive to be so adamant about the no shipping rumors and, you know, not being intertwined, because you know, I was thinking, what's the harm? What's the big deal? But now realizing, oh, being so intertwined with a person that's caused you so much pain, I wasn't even thinking about that at all. And I'm kind of curious to know what Tommy is even thinking about all of this. He befriended Wilbur when he was very young, like probably 16, and like I said, Wilbur is 7-8 years older than him. So I mean, they seem to still have a relationship to this day until all of this was coming out. I don't really know what is going through Tommy's mind or what's happening with all of that, but I guess we'll see. And like, so this video isn't going to be like all inclusive. This stuff is very recent that's coming out, and so there'll probably still be responses on the way, more people coming out with stories. Even another one of Wilbur's exes posted on TikTok, her name's Alice. Compared to Shelby's experience, it seemed to have very similar trajectories. The love bombing, the selfish tendencies, the biting. Alice's story was deeply concerning for a different reason though, because this is a quote from what she posted on TikTok. This was them reconnecting for closure after they had already broken up. We went to a bar to talk, and he then proceeded to get me very drunk. He got us an Uber back to his house. I ended up blacking out in his bed due to the alcohol, but the last thing I remember was him non-consensually removing my clothes. The next morning he proceeded to tell me that I must be a lesbian because I wasn't interested in him. A couple weeks later, this creator named Katie Bugs was inspired by Shelby to share her story about a creator who was significantly older than her and was cuddling, touching her beneath her shirt, despite not asking for her consent to do so. She was 18 at the time. The creator in question ended up posting a YouTube video about this, confirming the allegation was about him, and we learned that the person in question was George Not Found. The context of this situation was that during VidCon, Dream had this really big hotel room, and so a lot of creators would go in and out just as a casual hangout place, and Katie ended up going there. There were a group of people there, so it wasn't like it was just the two of them. Everybody was a little bit drunk. The things that they agree on was the cuddling and the touching parts. The things that they don't agree on, Katie said that George should have known her age. She said it that night during the party. It was also explicitly in her Instagram bio, and George and her were DMing after the fact. George said that he was not aware of her age. He assumed she was at least 21 because of the drinking and didn't see the age in her bio. Katie had said that this was the first like ever experience that she had really had with someone. Immediately after the fact, it disturbed her. She still thinks about it to this day. She wrote a diary entry during the time. George disagreed with that. Disagreed with her own account of how she felt about the night. He said, "You're probably just regretting it after the fact, like looking back on it years later. And on top of that, you're probably misremembering things because you were smiling and laughing, and also your friend group doesn't like me or Dream, so they're probably influencing you to speak badly about us." Dream then made a Reddit post after George posted his video essentially saying the same thing, backing him up, saying that George's side of the story was more accurate to how things went down the way he perceived it. Caiti then responded on Twitter saying that they had just met that night. George was in no position to assume that she was having a good time, what her mannerisms were. And then she shared messages with the dates showing her feeling uncomfortable about that situation very close to the time that it happened, like within a week probably. And then George made another video on his YouTube channel talking about how, oh, since all this new information has come to light, I basically retract my earlier statement. I'm really sorry. I should have been aware of her age for one, and also the power dynamics that come with the age imbalance, as well as the power imbalance because he was such a big creator and she was a smaller creator. Dream took to Twitter Spaces, which is like kind of a voice memo thingy. He was just like speaking, and basically he was saying, "Oh my god, I didn't know anything happened until Caiti, you know, made her initial stream," which duh, I mean, that wasn't really what was in question, but you did know the situation when you wrote your first Reddit post. He also shared about how he thought that Caiti's initial response was due to bad blood because of, you know, the friends that she surrounds herself with not liking Dream. I guess the new evidence that they're referring to is Caiti's texts from close to around the time that the incident happened, which showed her discomfort with it immediately after the fact, instead of their version, which was she essentially got brainwashed by her friends into thinking her enjoyable experience actually wasn't enjoyable and was in fact traumatic, which you could literally tell without textual evidence based on her initial stream. She was so distraught, so vulnerable with her story. Do you think the first time that a person has, you know, an experience, especially with the creator that she once looked up to and admired, a person remembers that? A person, she had said she had, I don't understand. And especially with the way that Dream handled Shelby's initial stream compared to the way he handled Caiti's stream. Obviously they're different situations, but it's like, wow, you really switched up, didn't you? Anyway, the Twitter Spaces ended with Dream crying, talking about how everybody thinks he's so cold and calculating and manipulative when really he's just trying to do good in the world. And I'm like, Dream, it's not about you, bud. It's really not. Wasn't the entire point of not using Twitter frequently was so that you could avoid these types of scenarios where you're responding based on your emotions, you're hot-headed, you're going to say stuff you wish you hadn't said. But you know what? Using spaces like Reddit and Twitter Spaces, nothing's going to change by doing that. You're just using another social media platform to say the things you would have said. Another creator that was inspired by Shelby is andi, a streamer. I actually know her initially because she was on Quackity's Lover Host. Basically on Tumblr, she talked about a experience where she had a really difficult relationship with someone. She didn't mention him by name. She felt like she was always begging for attention. The guy would get jealous whenever she would hang out with her guy friends, and she posted the breakup text that he sent her. "I think we aren't meant for each other. I think you deserve someone that will treat you better than I do. I don't think I'm in love with you, and I tried to force myself to love you because I thought that's what I wanted, but I really don't think it is. We started this relationship when I was just tired of being alone, and I really don't think it is right anymore. I don't think I am attracted to you. I'm sorry, I really didn't know how to end this, and this probably isn't the best way to do it, but it's time, sir?" They seemed kind of on again, off again. She really seemed hung up on this guy, but she said he was really insulting. He would sometimes use her mental health problems against her, and this guy got really jealous when she started talking to a friend of his flirtatiously during one of their breaks. She ended by saying, "On our 1-year anniversary, he told me that his plans for the day included playing video games, nothing else, and that's when I broke up with him. That was the last straw that broke the camel's back. I just couldn't do it anymore." A couple weeks later, she posts a more in-depth story of her relationship with this specific person, and she actually names the person. And this person is Puns, one of the dreamsmp members. She talked about how there were problems because he was telling her to keep the relationship private. It seemed like he was embarrassed of her. She kind of implied that he is racist, said he took advantage of her one night when she was blackout drunk. So he took to Twitter to post a response denying that he was racist, said that he said a slur one time in private with her and she immediately told him it was bad and he never said it again and apologized for it. He apologized for hurtful comments. He said that the night where she said he took advantage of her, he didn't think that she was any more drunk than usual. Shared, you know, details that probably should have been kept private about the way she initiated things with him because she was the one that initiated stuff that night. He said that they argued a lot though and that it was a two-way street. They both said and did really bad things. He then made another tweet that's now deleted talking about the situation where she was messaging his friend, and guess who the friend was? Dream. Wow. He said that Dream flirted with Andi before, during, and after their relationship. My experience with Dream. This is something I never imagined would ever be brought to light, but consequently, given recent events, I think it has to be. The truth is that I've never been close to Dream and definitely kept him at arm's length in my personal life, especially after the way he betrayed me. You betrayed me! To ever consider me close or best friends with him is just untrue. I frequently go months without seeing or talking to Dream at all. That being said, I've also never spoken publicly against him, which I assume has led most people to believe that we are good friends and that I support all of his actions, which is incredibly false. My best explanation for this is that I felt like I couldn't. Dream had these many interactions with my then girlfriend during the height of the dreamsmp. In all honesty, not only did I fear him, I felt like I owed him my life, that his generosity had given me my entire career and that I'd be nothing without him. I viewed Dream as a mentor, felt like he was even my boss, and that if I crossed him, I'd be isolated and lose everything. Who would choose me over Dream? Publicly and amongst my friends, there would be little reason to take my side. I mean, at first glance, it comes back to, damn, who would have thought that he wasn't close with Dream? All of these relationships are coming out, people hating people in secret, people liking people in secret, doing this and that. I have no idea who is who anymore. What is going on? But here's the thing. In a stream that Puns did a month earlier, he said in this stream that was only streamed a month before he posted this to Twitter, he said he will be staying at the Dream Team house for the foreseeable future. To the best of our knowledge, he's there right now. Damn, bro, when you said you were keeping him at arm's length, you were not kidding. Dream then, of course, responded on Reddit. We could always count on him to respond somewhere, can't we? He said he still considers Puns a friend, and this is the last line of his response. I'm sorry, Puns. I love and appreciate you, and I love how our friendship has grown over the years. I hope my one mistake hasn't overshadowed how I've treated and thought of you outside of it. I will make it up to you just by treating you how you deserve, as I think I have been for a long time. So as you can see, it is absolutely wild out here. I think Wilbur is the most clear-cut case of fuck you forever, because lots and lots of people have shared their negative experiences with him, and there seems to be a very consistent pattern with his behavior that is not good. It is kind of a scary time because I don't want to look up to someone who's a content creator who is doing all of this horrible stuff behind the scenes. So I think the only people that I trust, I'm gonna be so real, after watching Shelby, I'd never really watched her content, but from what I could tell, she slays. So supporting Shelby, Tommy and its mom, Jenna Marbles, Dan, Phil, no one else. Please, if you like this video and want to support the channel, then please stick around for a quick word from the sponsor of today's video. If you have ever thought about making a website, you have a product you want to sell, but the thought of, you know, creating a website is really overwhelming, you don't know where to start, don't worry, Squarespace has got your back. Squarespace is a platform that allows you to create your own website. This means you can build your brand, grow your business, and you can literally sell anything. Digital products, physical products, your time and services, even custom merch if that's a thing you want to create. And the cool thing with custom merch is that the production, inventory, and shipping and handling are all handled for you, so you're smooth sailing. You can customize your site with the tons of design tools they offer, or start out with a pre-built layout. Then you could upload, organize, and access all of your content from your asset library. Check out squarespace.com for a free trial, and when you're ready to launch, go to squarespace.com/AmandaToddHunter to get 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. Thank you so much to Squarespace for sponsoring this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you stuck around to the very end, I know this was a long video, but at least you're educated, at least you're aware. Hope y'all enjoyed. I will see you next time. Have a great rest of your day. Bye.